And I am here to take you into a place of belief. Yes, you first must believe. And once you believe, you're almost there. Come on in. Hi, so again, here we are. Now we're on the inside. We were outside of a door and the word believe was on the outside. That is because first you must believe. Anything you read, anything you are looking at to practice, you must believe. And that's believing in yourself. So, since we're on the inside of believe, let's move forward. First of all, you are absolute. You're absolute. Um, Absolute is spelled ABSOLUTE. It just means you're complete. It just means you're all together. Even when you don't feel like you're all together, you are all together. You are absolute. So, what you will need, and I should have said this before, but we're just going to be in conversation about the word absolute and about a method, the S3 method. So we'll be in conversation. And what you will need for this conversation or for me talking to you, your responses will be your paper and a writing utensil. So if you need to get that, if you don't have paper right now and a writing utensil, go right ahead, pause me, and go get that writing utensil and the paper. Okay? I'll wait. For those of you that have it already, we'll go right ahead. So, I want you to first write the word absolute. I have several sheets of paper here. I want you to write the word absolute. So, I'm going to write it. I'm going to write the A, B, S, O, L-U-T-E. I wrote the word absolute. Now I am writing with a Sharpie, so it may not be dark enough. I'm not sure, but I'm going to hold it up. I wrote the word absolute. Something that may be so for my word that may not be for yours is the word so. So is in the middle of that word. And we use so all the time. We say, I am so tired. I am so hungry. You fill in the blank. I am so, it's excessive. So when we're talking to someone, they kind of understand how we feel because we all use so and we've been there. But I want you to know today that you are absolute. You are so the parent. You are so together. Even if you don't feel like you are, you are. You are. All right. So we've kind of defined the word absolute in order to move forward into the S3 method. And it's that you must believe that you are absolute. Being absolute just means you are what your child needs. You are what your children need. You are it. Of course, children need a teacher. Of course, a principal is at the school. And there may be other relatives, there may be other people in your village, in your family that your children have a need for. They need you and your absoluteness. So I'm excited to go into the S3 method. The S3 method is my own scientific method used with my own child and then a few others that I've done a bit of research with. So we have our word absolute. And if you haven't, if it's all lowercase, you want to at this time to move or change your word write it again and capitalize the S and the O right in the middle, because you are so the parent. You're absolute. All right, so we're going to move into the S3 method. And I call it the S3 method because each one of those areas begin with an S. Actually, the same word. So, first we'll look at self-definition. Self-definition. So if you have paper there, just go ahead and write self-definition. Self-definition. This isn't going to be hard to do. This is going to be very easy. All right? So self-definition, I've written it on a sheet of paper. And you can see my self-definition. I'll just roll it across there. Of course, self-definition is not always very easy because we have others that have defined us. So we will believe what we hear others have said, especially if it's good. If you're a singer, you are such a good singer. And if it's a hobby, if it's a passion, if it's something you like to do and you get great response from it, you believe that you are a great singer. You may not ever say it, but you do believe that. Remember our word believe, remember our word absolute, and now we're into our S3 method, self-definition. So self-definition has to do with you defining yourself, no matter what anyone else says about you. So we can use who, what, when, where, why, and how. We could use those. And you don't have to use all of them. So just for today, let's use who. And let's use how. Who are you? Who are you? Define yourself. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. Your employer. I'm an attorney. I work in a factory. I work in human resources. I don't work. I lost my job. Define who you are. Who are you? Say who you are. And under your self-definition, the portion of self-definition, you're going to write who you are. I put who, a question mark, and then I wrote, I am a mother. You might be a father. You might be an aunt. You may be a caretaker. You may be a grandmother. Write, I am a mother. I am a father. I am a grandma. I am an aunt. Write that. I am a mother. I also wrote, I am a teacher. And then you may want to write one more. But in your who you are, you're writing who you know that you are. And many times in writing who you know that you are, honesty really comes into play when you have deep thought about who you are exactly. We used who and we used how. We'll use how. How? How did you get there? How did you become a mother? We know how you became a mother. But in your parenting, the type of parenting, or in your category, I want to say, in your style of parenting, how did you get there? How did you get into your style of teaching? Or how did you get into your style of being a parent is the question. How did you get there? And you can write, I admired my mother. You admired your mom. That's how you became That's how you became the type of parent you are. I admired my teacher, is why I became a teacher, but it's also how I became what I am. Let's go back to the first one where it says, I am a mother. Let's use that. I am a father. I am a caretaker. I am an aunt. I am a foster parent. I am an adoptive parent. How did you become that? What made you do that? How did you become with the style that you have as far as that is concerned? How did that occur? Those are only two of the questions that we'll use today when it comes to self-examination. Self-definition. We must know how we define ourselves. Many times it isn't the definition that we want to think of, or it's not the definition that we want to believe, but we must have an honest definition of who we are. That's the only way we're able to move forward into our next S. Our next S is self-examination. Self-examination. So let's think about going to our doctor to get an exam. Let's look at if any of you ever played sports, an examination was due. But we go to our doctor and we don't feel like anything is wrong, but we're going in for an exam. And once we go in for the exam, we find out different things about ourselves. They check our eyes. They may check our ears, look inside of our mouth, check whether we have an irregular heartbeat, check our pulse, name something. Think of something that they may check when you are being examined. So turn that stethoscope on yourself. Examine yourself. How do I see myself as a parent? How do I feel parenting? So in an exam, you're going to see. In an exam, you're going to feel. Because they're going to poke and prod. Some of us in examinations, we have to take a stress test. Some of us have been there. So we have to go on a treadmill, and they're looking for other things. But how? In examination, how do you see yourself as a parent? Go ahead and write that down. I see myself as a loving parent. I see myself as a parent that doesn't hug a lot. I see myself as a parent that doesn't give what my child really needs. How would you know? How would you know that? Examining you turns a searchlight on you. And it doesn't matter what anyone else is saying, but it's what you are saying about you. So we're in the place of belief. We know that we are absolute. We know that we are so the parent, but there's the S3, the self-definition, and now the self-examination. In an examination, something may be found that we don't even like. I've examined that I curse my children. I've examined that I don't use the right words. I've examined that I'm not consistent. In your relationship with your child, it doesn't mean that everything is perfect or happy, but consistency is key after you've examined yourself and you know through examination who you are. Okay, so we've done self-definition, self-examination, of course this could have been a TED Talk, but I thought this was a little more intimate. Okay, so self-examination. We talked about self-examination before we wrote it down. We thought a bit about self-examination before we wrote anything as far as self-examination. So my second sheet, or maybe another place on your paper, you have written self-examination. A short story. In my parenting years, and I'm still parenting, I had to examine. At a point when I wasn't with my husband or with my daughter's father, at a point when we were not together, I had to examine, am I doing enough? Am I able to do this? Am I able to do all of this? What is it that she needs? Am I able to give what she needs? So in self-examination, you look at whether or not you're able to give what is needed. So what is needed? What does your child need? Your child needs love. Your children need support. So I wrote self-examination, I left a space, and I wrote love, I wrote support. Your child needs for you to hear them. And you are your child's first teacher. I know I love my child. I support my child. I hear my child. I teach my child. You may. What methods do you use to get the desired results? In order to use any method, you must know if you're able to give that. And many times because of our past, we're not able to give what is needed. So in self-examination, when we find that we love our children and we're able to give the love, we have methods of love to give. We have methods. So we love them. They need our love, I should say. They need our support. They need for us to hear them, and they also need to be taught. And in self-examination, have we been loved? Have we been heard? Have we been supported? Have we been taught? Okay? So, in saying that, your self-examination is going to take you to your final S3. It's going to take you to a final place. But before you go there, methods in order to move forward in the give, we have to look at what we have already received and what we've gotten, or what we have received, as I said. Okay? So in the way of love, let's look at love. Love is in many, many forms. And in order to move forward in loving your child, you have to know different methods, different ways to love. Love is in conversation, in exchange of conversation. Love is in exchange of conversation. Go ahead on your paper. If you left a space between the words self-examination and the words, the needs of your child, go ahead and write one of those needs. You may not have written love, you may not have written support, the words that I wrote. You may have written other words because you know what your child needs. And in self-examination, you know if you're giving them and if you receive them yourself. So write one of those words. I wrote the word love because love to my child comes in several different forms. So one way I love my daughter is through written communication. Written communication, I could say, could be a text. She's old enough to text. So it could be in a text. And so when I am on my way to my school, I will maybe stop at a light, or once I get to my school, I will send her a text message for her day. And this text message may say, "Good morning again, sweetheart. I love you. Your day is going to be superb." You believe that? And then she'll text me back, "Mom, thank you for the text message. Yes, I believe it. And yours is going to be superb as well, or yours is going to be great as well." We have just exchanged love, and that builds our relationship. That builds in my self-examination portion where I know that I am able to give that. Let me give you another example of love. I could name several. Another. When I wake up in the morning, I'm a morning person. I am dancing, I'm happy. My daughter's not like that. But she accepts the fact that, in our household, where I'm a happy person when I wake up. So I'm dancing. Celebrate good times. Come on. Dun, 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 dun. I have the music on and everybody's like, what is wrong with you? But she realizes that I am that way in the morning, and that's my expression of love. So she accepts it. She may be groggy. She may have her eyes closed still when she sits up and says, "Yes, Mom, good morning, celebrate." She accepts that, and it makes her happy that I am. So your expression of love, the examination portion of where you look at how you are or what you have received in order to give, is key. All right. My daughter needs to know that I hear her, that I support her, and that I teach her. Right. So in your self-exam, it has to do with what you have received. You can write down what you have received from your parent, from your caregiver, from your husband, from your significant other, from your family, because sometimes people have families that give a lot, pour a lot into their younger members of the family in order for them to grow. And then some of us, or some, have not had the experience. That is why we have to seek out an examination of ourselves, what it is we received, what is needed of our children, and are we able to give what is needed? Okay? All right. So self-examination, that's our second sheet. Our first sheet was our self-definition. Our second is our self-examination. But wait, let's go all the way back to when we were outside of the door. We had the word believe. And I didn't write the word believe down because the belief is inside of you. We were outside of belief when I was outside of the door. We came inside to be inside of belief. That belief is inside of you. You believe that you're absolute. You believe that you are capable of doing self-definition. You believe that you are capable and able to do self-examination, to know honestly and in integrity what has been given to you and what you're able to supply, what you are able to give. And you can and you will, in order to have a well-rounded and successful child. You're able to complete the S3 method. With practice, you'll complete it. Our third point in the S3 method, which brings us to not ending, but brings us to a specific, very, very, very specified and important portion, an important time, is self-care. Oh, no. Some of you may be saying self-care should have been first. Oh, let's wait. Because when many of us think of self-care, write down something you think of. Write something down. This is your next page. We're not going to write self-care. We're going to write what we think self-care is. So I'm on 3 pages. You may be on the same sheet. Skip a few lines or so, or some space on your page, so that you have a place to not write self-care, but write what self-care is to you. Write what self-care is to you. And I'm going to tell you what self-care is to me. I'm going to tell you, because ladies, you know what we think self-care is. Gentlemen, you know what you think. Several things are self-care. So you know what you think several things, what your self-care, you know what those things are. Caregivers, you know your breaks, whatever you feel your self-care is. Go ahead and write those things down. Write down maybe 2 or 3 things of self-care. I'll give you a moment and I'll write mine down. Okay, I'm writing 1. You guys writing? I hope so. Okay, I'll just write 2 down. I don't want to take too much time, and our time is winding up, but we're making progress. Our belief system, what we believe, knowing we are absolute and you are soul, the parent. Our first portion, self-definition. Second, self-examine. Okay, let me get back. You know, I get caught up. Okay, number, and that's my second one. Forgive me. It's live right now. All right. The second one is okay. So let's see, self-examination. I really wish that we were on a Zoom call. I know y'all are tired of Zoom calls, and you've probably been on 100 by now, or so many, you know, that's exaggerated, but been on so many Zoom calls and, you know, Google Meets and, you know, all the meetings in social media because of our pandemic. But I wish that I could see some of your information, because I know some of you have written down, a bubble bath. I just get in the bathroom. I'm in a bubble bath. The bubbles are, you know, I'm in the tub. It's wonderful. The door is closed and it is locked. That is self-care. Forgive my computer, please. Forgive my computer. All right, we're in our self-care mode. What do you think some other self-care things are? Self-care. Let me get my phone. I'm going to look up some stuff. Just briefly. Okay? Self-care. I'm going to Google. Self-care, because you guys are not, I can't see you. Self-care. All right. So self-care is actually defined as, self-care is an activity that we do deliberately in order to take care of our what? Mental. Of our what? Emotional. Of our what? Physical health. So in self-care, you have 3 types of health. Everything's coming in a number of 3s. Believe me. 3 types of health here. You have mental, you have emotional, you have physical. Will you write those 3 words down? Okay, I'm not gonna have you write too much more. You have, write, I think, one more thing after this. Mental, write mental. right emotional, and right physical. Mental, emotional, and physical. Mental, emotional, and physical. I'm sure that on your list of a couple of things that you wrote, maybe you wrote one thing, maybe you wrote three, maybe you wrote two, you are taking care of one of those, if not all three, if not two of them. You're taking care of something, your mental health. Let me tell you, mentally, breathing exercises will suffice. Mental, what you think about. Think about things that are pure. Think about things that are excellent. Think about things that are of, a good rapport. Think on those things. Yes, the things that are wonderful, the things that are great. Think on those things. Mental. Your emotional health. Your emotional health. Emotionally in the morning, I'm very, very, I guess it's emotion. I'm happy. It's an emotion that I have when I'm dancing or that I'm singing Alexander Hamilton, or I'm the shot song, the shot song. I'm not throwing away my shot. I played it in my classroom 2015, 16. Oh my gosh, playing that in my classroom every single morning before my students came in. Your emotional, moving it with your emotions, and then your physical health. As I'm beginning to start or continue or start again, an exercise regimen, physical health, gentlemen, playing ball with your guys, with the dudes, with bros, or with the people. You're playing ball. You're golfing, just whatever you do that, exercising daily, whatever keeps you together physically. So when you have all three of these things in your self-care, that's wonderful. But let me also add for you mentally. If you are able to think through what your child is going through, if your child is going through something at school, if they are having a challenge, I'll say challenges. If there's a challenge at school, if there's a challenge with a neighborhood child, another child in the neighborhood, or another child at school, or if there's a family challenge with an adult in the family, or with another child in the family, these challenges mentally, if you're able to think through those things and be strategic about what you're saying, what you're doing, being swift to hear and slow to speak. And some people maybe say, not too slow, I need to take care of it. Yeah, you may need to. But mentally, you want to be together. And you can do it. Emotionally, there are different rituals emotionally. And we talked about good self-care. Good self-care is the key to an improved mood and reduced anxiety. Because our children know when we're anxious, our children feed off of, our anxieties. So we want to diminish those types of things in our self-care. So in our self-care, let me read this to you. I'll read a few things. All right, rituals. Make sleep a part of your self-care. Routines, a sleep routine. Make routine a part of your self-care. And if you're routined yourself, you will routine your child. Your child is automatically routined because you are. Self-care for you equals self-care for them. All right, equals care for them. All right, take care of yourself by exercising daily. Exercise is a part of your day. Eating right is self-care. And another self-care ritual is saying no to others. when it's hard for you to say no to others about certain things, it's hard for you to say no. That is a part of your discipline. So self-care and discipline go hand in hand and move you forward. Moves you forward to be deep in your belief, absolute, and then taking on the S3. Okay? But you first must believe that this is possible for you. And when you believe it, that's a part of your faith. See, that's what I'm into. That's where I am. I'm into faith. So I have a belief that when I desire to be the best I can be, to be the best parent I can be, when I have that desire and I move not only just having that desire in my hand, but what I do is I open up the desire and I put work into that. My faith of the desired thing and the work, it all comes together and gives you an expected end. What do you expect? Have you written that down? Write down what you expect from your belief, from being absolute, from knowing that self-definition is key. Self-examination is important. And then self-care sums it all up so that you understand you are fully an absolute parent. Practice parenting. Consistency is key. And believe me, what your child turns into and out to be will be your testament, will be your testimony that you are an absolute parent. Thank you so much for listening to all of the words, all of the things that I have said on today. Follow my Facebook page, Absolute Parent, on Facebook. Again, I'm Constance Terry Morris. I am the CEO of Absolute Parent. And thank you for just having conversation or letting me talk to you on today. Thanks.